We're back with high-low, but today building a dark mode versus light mode complete everyday carry kit. Kicking things off as usual with the wallet. For dark mode, we've got the Carhartt Duck front pocket wallet. And what I like about this piece is how deceptively storage capable it is. I mean, it's got 9 dedicated sleeves where on each side there are 3 vertically stacked sleeves, with the outermost sleeve on the back featuring this cutout for easy extraction for your most frequently used card. Check this out. I can have 6 cards in the dedicated vertical sleeves on the front and the back, some cash in the side loader sleeves, and can still easily accommodate another 6 less frequently used cards in the main compartment. But best of all, taking a look at the packaging, we can see here that it's made of Cordura for peak durability and is treated to be water repellent, as well as having an RFID blocking liner for security. Shooting over to the light mode wallet, we've got this beautiful Exter aluminum card holder in their Eclipse white colorway. Exter's claim to fame is this right here, where pushing the button shoots out the cards in this main housing and even fans them out beautifully. What's more, the button itself has a fantastic resistance for a satisfying where it just feels very solid and confidence in durability gets further amplified with its metal body. However, this metal body also brings about the reason why I never personally felt compelled to try Exter wallets before. What I mean is, because it's solid metal, there's 0 flex, and although it ships with 6 placeholder cards, in reality, it probably accommodates just 5 for most people, since most of us have bank cards or credit cards with raised letters and numbers. But the finishing cannot be denied. With this particular model featuring this silicone loop, allows us to cinch down cash on the front, and this RFID card plate enables a frequently used card to be stored here, and like the pocket on the back of the Carhartt, also has this cutout for easy push to extract action. And speaking of the Carhartt, bringing them both into frame, we can see that these two wallets are at a more than 3 times delta in price. But of course, they are wildly different offerings, and like everything we'll explore in this video, you can find both of them linked down in the description below if you want to research them more for yourself. Moving on to the pocket knives, on the dark mode side, I am going with a Kickstarter project I backed and just took delivery of. We can see just how tiny this little Speedy is. Less than 3 3/4 inch deployed, and a blade of just under 1.5 inches. Combined with the flat grind on the 440C stainless steel and the G10 scales, this thing is just so lightweight to combine with its compact size. It's called the Speedy, by the way, because beyond its handy flipper tab, it's also spring assisted. Regardless, what I love about this knife is the straight up size. I mean, I need a beefier knife when I'm working at the metal fabrication workshop, but for weekend EDC, and heck, for most people whose knife needs start and end with unboxing packages, this little guy is more than capable, and reducing pocket bulk is more often than not a net positive. Sailing over to the light mode knife, we've got a crowd favorite in the Benchmade Mini Bugout. This one with a blacked out drop point blade with some sweet S30V steel stock, completed with a Cerakote finish for some amplified corrosion resistance. This mini version is also fantastic for everyday carry, and I love that it ships with a deep carry clip to anchor your pocket with minimal protrusion. As with all Benchmade products, it's at least marginally overpriced with the brand name and ensuing butterfly tax, but in general, they really do make excellent products, and this particular one, with the ultra lightweight Grivery scales, that Cerakote coating on the stainless steel blade, fantastic fidget-friendly action, and the axis lock, it really doesn't leave much to be desired for most people's EDC needs. Now, bringing the Speedy back into frame, we can see there's a 4 times jump in price, but of course, these two knives are serving 2 wildly different types of use cases. Migrating over to the flashlights in our kits, for the dark mode, I selected this iMini 2 by Olight. I've chosen it because it's something I personally have not seen before, where it's just one single output of 50 lumens and there's no on-off switch, but rather shoots its beam when the light itself is pulled out of its very strong magnetically anchored base. Pull out to turn on, snap back to shut off. I think this right here is a quintessential EDC torch for the masses. Everything is self-contained into a nice clean little package for minimum pocket bulk and probably enough output for most people's real-life needs. The anchoring hole itself, once the silicone shield is removed, is the charger, plugging into any powered standard USB Type-A port. I can't overstate how strong the neodymium magnet is either. I mean, this is never accidentally being ejected, and as an added bonus, can be anchored to any magnet-friendly surface for extended hands-free illumination. As we shoot on over to the light mode kit's torch, we are sticking with Olight in the form of their Baton 4 Premium. Right off the bat, this very soft touch charging case shows its charge level on this tiny pushable screen button, and when the case is fully charged via USB-C, means that it can charge the compact flashlight itself an entire 5 times, which makes this a fantastic emergency light for, say, the car's glove box. Flipping up the lid reveals the light itself, and pulling it out, the first thing I noticed was just how aggressive the knurling-like texture is on the body, which means it's extremely grippy even with wet hands. Although Olight is not my most frequently used brand of flashlight, one thing can't be denied. Their user interface is so easy to learn and remember, and their simplicity with just one single button is outstanding. From an off position, pressing and holding the button and releasing the moment the light turns on means we are in moonlight mode at just half a lumen. Perfect for reading or when you really don't want to draw attention to yourself. From any turned on output setting, pressing and holding that button cycles through the remaining constant outputs. Low at 12 lumens, medium at 60, and high at 600 lumens. For the greatest short burst turbo brightness, double pressing that button sails an impressive 1,300 lumens out. So darn awesome at such a compact size. I think my new favorite element compared to previous generations though, is that now there are 6 green lights flanking the button to show you approximate remaining battery. Bringing both back into frame, we can see that there's a 5 times jump in price. But now that I think about it, $100 for the Baton 4 Premium actually feels like an incredible deal. What are your thoughts? Heading over to the key solutions, on the dark mode side, I was going to feature a dedicated key solution, but then I realized, wait a sec, both the Speedy Knife and the Olight iMidi 2 ship with carabiners, and given how compact they both are, for the purposes of this kit, would both make fantastic keyrings in their own rights. Me personally, I would choose the iMidi 2 as a keyring, since it's the smaller and more compact of the two. This leads us to the light mode key solution, and given how more and more people are using tracking devices, we've got the Belkin Apple AirTag keyring. This thing is pretty self-explanatory, and for those who perpetually lose their keys, is probably a must-have now. I mean, for 2 pieces of injection molded plastic to sandwich an AirTag, rotate to lock, and affix its included keyring to, it's pretty straightforward and no nonsense, and yet, again, for the perpetually forgetful, is probably a lifesaver. Bring both key solutions into frame, there is no comparison price-wise, but as I'm sure anyone who uses AirTags already knows, tons of options are available in virtually any color online. Let's head on over to the wristwatches. And for dark mode, we've got probably one of the most beloved entry point analog quartz watches, the Timex Expedition. But this one in true blackout, with an all black case, black dial, and dark gunmetal numbers, indices, and skeletonized hands. This is as dark mode as we can get. As field watches go, this is functional perfection. I mean, in the daytime, despite it basically being black on black, one glance and you can easily read the time. But in low light and at night, that's where I get to go back to the 3rd grade when I got my first watch ever, the Timex Ironman, and pressed the crown in for Timex's beloved Indiglow. Beaming over to the light mode watch, I've decided to go with the G-Shock GWX 5600C, which is a little bit harder to get because it's a JDM watch, but with so many importers is actually buyable at sporadic frequencies even on Amazon. This straight up is a surfer's watch, with the key differentiator being the upper third of the screen displaying tide and moon phase. From a durability perspective, few brands come close to touching G-Shock, and the pedigree, history, and approachability across all budgets makes pretty much any G-Shock a winner. Bringing our black on black Expedition into frame, we are at about a 3 times price difference, and with the watches out of the way, we can move onto the notebooks. On the dark mode side, I almost had no choice. Field notes with their black covers. Field notes are what they are. Small page count pocketable notebooks with fantastic quality paper inside. Made in the USA, I used these exclusively for many years before discovering and permanently switching over to the Traveler's Notebook ecosystem. And one of my main draws to it initially was because they use Futura Bold, my literal favorite font. Weird how for some weirdos like me, typography can literally guide buying decisions, but thankfully, it's not just the designs. The notebooks themselves are fantastic to use, which is why so many people use them religiously. Moving on to the light mode notebook, we have got this tiny A7 size memo pad by Penco. Right off the bat, you can see something familiar, right? You got it, Futura Bold in the text for General Notebook. But Penco is a Japanese stationery brand that has a design language for all their products that slot right at the meeting point of gorgeous vintage aesthetics and no-nonsense usability. From this notebook with the lay flat capabilities, along with the crease lines on both covers, to the thin plastic cover for peak durability while in the pocket, this top-flipping memo pad is just so dang functional. And this ethos extends through their entire lineup. I mean, check out this all-metal mini tape measure. Every instance of typography calls back to a vintage vibe, and yet the quality and functionality are exactly what we need, including this grippy textured back. And as a selfish added bonus, even the numbers on the ruler itself are Futura. But I'm going off on a tangent, so to reel it back in, bring both notebooks back into frame, we can see that we're pretty close in price at a per unit calculation. However, with something to write in, we of course need something to write with, which guides us to the pens in our kits. On the dark mode side, I've chosen the Pentel RSVP Mini. Back in 7th grade, my homeroom teacher, shout out Mr. Hammond, paused education for a full hour and taught all of us how to spin a pen and gave each of us a regular-sized Pentel RSVP to practice with. For this kit though, we can see the mini version has a black tinted transparent barrel and cap, and continuing on with the ongoing theme of the dark mode kit is just super compact. Beyond that, these mini versions of the Pentel RSVP feature a tiny hole in the cap, so continuing with the fact that the knife and flashlight themselves can be the keychain, this pen too can serve the same function. Sailing over to the light mode kit is my beloved Lamy Safari, and this was an easy decision for the theme in glossy white. I love Lamy Safaris because they've proven to be essentially indestructible, reliable, and for the sheer quality, history, and lore, don't really break the bank. Is it luxury? No. But is it cheap? No. It's just one of the most perfectly designed products that's made to be used. Bring both pens back into frame from a per unit cost perspective, we are at a gigantic spread for $1 for each mini RSVP and $25 for the Lamy Safari. Now, as we zoom out and take a look at both kits side by side, we can see that there's roughly a $400 and near 4x difference in the price between the two kits. And I have a feeling that, like me, if you were forced to pick between the two lots, you'd probably actually mix and match for your unique use cases. And staying in color harmony, if it were a mixed and match set, although this video is not sponsored, lately, for short errands or EDC loadouts that don't involve work, I have found that this gray sling by TomTalk has been so versatile in being able to match pretty much any casual outfit. Something about gray being as neutral as it is, I guess. Anyways, just a tidbit of added thought beyond my typical high-low videos. Now, if you're on a roll and you want to see two loadouts, both comprised entirely with that magical lightweight alloy known as titanium, you will definitely want to watch this video right up here. If you're feeling lucky though, this video down here is the one for you. I'll leave them both on screen for a few seconds so you can choose which one to watch next, but while you're deciding, consider liking, subscribing, and hitting that bell so you'll be notified the moment new videos just like this one drops.